Good Thursday afternoon and evening, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. This is the afternoon update, and we'll be talking about dense fog as well as a weekend storm system producing snow across the northeast U.S. and looking long range into early February on what you can expect for your weather out your door. Make sure if you are new to the channel to subscribe to the channel down below for detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics during tropical weather season coming up. We will keep you covered. Also, make sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Let's look here at our weather alerts across the United States this afternoon and evening. We continue to have dense fog advisories hoisted across the Midwest here, the upper Midwest, and into the Great Lakes region. Even some dense fog advisories over here into parts of New England this afternoon and evening as well. Meanwhile, we do have flood alerts continuing across the southeast as we have saturated soils and we continue to see rounds and rounds of heavy rainfall over the next couple of days. Let's look at our visibility this afternoon. We still have patchy dense fog across this region into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes. So if you are driving out there for your afternoon, evening commute, just make sure that you are driving slow and leave plenty of time between your destination to get to your new destination with this fog. And then as we go into tonight, that fog will thicken, it will lower, and we'll start to see more widespread dense fog just like we saw the past couple of nights. So we'll start to see more of those widespread dense fog advisories being hoisted by your local National Weather Service offices as we go into tonight. And then starting off your Friday morning, the last day of the work week here, and we start to see more of that fog again across the Plain States, across the Midwest, the upper Midwest here into the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes region. So again, another morning commute where we have to take it slow out on those roadways. Looking here at our precipitation this afternoon, we have more rainfall across the deep south here, but also some of this pushing up into the Midwest here, Missouri, southern Iowa into western and southern Illinois. We're going to start to see that push northeastbound this afternoon. By the time we get into this evening, into the overnight hours, we're going to see a nice band of some rain here with some moderate rainfall rates from eastern Iowa through northern Illinois, getting into southern Wisconsin, southern lower Michigan here across the northern Ohio Valley, northern Indiana, northern Ohio, and then pushing over here into Pennsylvania and western New York State. We'll start to settle down on our precipitation across the deep south and the southeast as we go through tonight. Then as we go into Friday, we could have some of that precipitation turning over to some heavier wet snow, mainly across southeastern Canada, but we could also see some snowfall across portions of northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and much of Maine as we go into your Friday morning, Friday afternoon time frame. And then here we go again, another new storm system pushing into the Gulf Coast states as we go into your Friday afternoon, producing some more heavy rainfall across the Houston region, getting over here in toward New Orleans and even into portions of Mobile, Alabama as we go into Friday. Here is your total precipitation. This is additional on top of what we've already seen with our past couple of storms. This is from now through Friday night over the next 24 hours or so. Notice that we start to taper off the heavier rains, but we're still seeing additional rainfall across the deep south. We'll see that band of heavier rain across portions of the Midwest, the southern lakes, and into the northeast. This could lead to a swath of about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch for most of us, possibly up to an inch in a couple of areas of rainfall across especially southern lower Michigan, northern Indiana, and northwestern Ohio, and then over here into western New York State through your Friday night time frame. And with that heavier wet snow across this region, we could be seeing 1 inch or 2 of accumulation there across Vermont, New Hampshire, especially the northern side of those states, and then into Maine as we go through your Friday night time frame. As we go into the weekend, that new storm that is approaching the Gulf Coast on Friday will start to move northeastbound again as that highway in our jet stream is pushing all these storms to the north and east. You can see that here winding itself up across the Tennessee Valley on Saturday, and then that pushes up here just off the coast of New England as we go into your Sunday time frame. You can see a lot of lift out here, and that means a lot of precipitation. So looking here on Saturday, there's all the precipitation, the low pressure center, just not really that strong, but a 1012 millibar low producing some decent rains across the southeast, the Carolinas in particular, eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, and then all the way down through Georgia, Alabama, and northwest Florida on Saturday. That will push up into the mid-Atlantic states as we go into Saturday night, still seeing a little bit of some strengthening to a 1,006 millibar low at this point. And looking on Sunday, okay, we have some of the colder air pushing in from southeastern Canada on the back side of this storm. Now, it's not going to be Arctic cold air, but it's going to be cold enough, marginally cold enough for some wet snowflakes out there across portions of New England on your Sunday and into Sunday night. So looking here during the day on Sunday, this is going to be an interior New England event with some wet snowflakes from Erie, Pennsylvania, up through the Buffalo region, Watertown, and maybe as far east as over here into Albany, New York, as we go through the day on Sunday. Further south, New Jersey, southern and southeastern Pennsylvania, the Delmarva region, and then all down the east coast toward Florida, it's going to be liquid precipitation. It's going to be all rain. It's just simply too warm for snow. Then as we go into Sunday night, that rain snow line attempts to move further south, so areas like Boston, up here into Vermont, New Hampshire, into portions of western Maine, maybe Connecticut gets in on some snow showers as we go into your Sunday night time frame. But further south, New Jersey again, Long Island, New York City, likely remaining all rain with this precipitation. Looking through the weekend, this is our new storm system. Decent rains again are expected across the eastern 2/3 of the country, from the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and up to the northeast. Widespread rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches with locally higher amounts possible in a few pockets. And then with our snowfall, this is the Icon model, does pretty well here in the short term, and you can see as we go especially into that Sunday night time frame, some wet snowflakes, a few inches worth of snow will be possible from portions of coastal and western Maine through Vermont, New Hampshire, much of western and central Massachusetts, northern Connecticut, and then getting through much of New York State, especially north of New York City, and then getting across portions of northern PA here, and then the Appalachians could start to see some of that snow through the weekend time frame. Then as we go into next week, a pattern change is in the offing, okay? So we have a high pressure ridge across southern and central Canada. This will be a blocking mechanism for our next pattern as we have another trough moving in out west here. This is going to be providing us with some decent rains and snow for California and the West Coast next week. But more importantly, our temperatures are going to be ticketed for well above normal territory here. We're talking temperatures 10, 20, even 25 degrees above the norm for this time of year as we enter into the last week of January and into early February here. And the warmest anomalies are actually across southern Canada and up here towards Montana, North Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota for next week. We will be a little bit below average to the east. That's just in association with our weekend system. And that will keep us a little bit below average from Maine down toward Florida and the East Coast during that next week time frame. But looking at our temperatures, starting off next work week on Monday, January 29th, look at these temperatures, folks. We are melting our snowpack very quickly here across the Midwest and the northern U.S. as we have temperatures. That 40-degree line goes all the way up here into southern Canada by Monday. Same thing on Wednesday. We have 50s all the way up here into the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, and Nebraska. And then by the time we get to Friday, yeah, it's still warm out there. So definitely seeing that snowpack dwindling before our eyes as we go through next week. And looking at our precipitation anomaly with that trough moving into the West Coast, wetter than normal across portions there of California, the Four Corners region, and then eventually into the southern plains as we go in towards later next week. And looking at those total precipitation amounts through the week, this is a 5-day period from Monday, the 29th time frame, through Saturday, the 3rd of February. And you can see the heaviest rains across the immediate West Coast, western Washington State, western Oregon, and California, and then all the way over here in toward the Phoenix region, and then eventually into the southern plains, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Fort Worth, down into the San Antonio region, and Houston once again, seeing that heavier rainfall through next week. And looking at our snowfall prospects here, definitely seeing some good snows. Cold pocket aloft out here to the west. So we're going to see some good snows across the Rockies, especially the central and southern Rockies, and the Sierras are going to be seeing some good snows in a couple of feet potentially as we go through that 5-day period next week between the January 29th and February 3rd. So definitely seeing some nice snows here for the watershed out west, that is for sure. Now as we go into the second week into February, Monday, February 5th through Monday, February 12th, 12th, we still have that high pressure blocking up here into southeastern Canada, keeping us dry, but also keeping us milder as well. And that will bleed into the northern U.S. So across the northern U.S. as well, we will be drier and also above normal with our temperatures. Underneath that, we're going to have that trough that moves in on the west coast next week. The week after, into the second week in February, we'll be pushing east across the southern U.S. and eventually turning up the east coast. And this will set up a nice storm track for potentially some nor'easters toward the second week in February. First, looking at our temperature anomalies between the 5th and the 12th of that month, you can see above normal temperatures across southern, southeastern Canada, and up around the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and New England during this period. A cold pocket aloft definitely coming down across the western third of the country, so the west coast, the Intermountain West, especially the Rockies here, and then bleeding into Texas, we could have those below normal temperatures. And looking at our pressure here, okay, you have high pressure in Canada with that blocking, and then we have lower pressure with the blues and the whites here down across the southeast, and this is what we like to see, especially if we like snowfall here across the northeast into the second week of February. We have more precipitation. We have saturated soils across this region. We're going to continue to pump in more moisture into early February here across the lower Mississippi Valley, the southeast, and on up the east coast there into places like the mid-Atlantic coast and the New England coast as we go through the 12th of February. It will take some time. We are melting our snowpack after all, so it's going to take time to cool down our source region. And when you have a high pressure up here into portions of southern Canada and you're cooling down your cold source region, you are definitely going to have a struggle to get snowfall further south. But we'll try to see that across the Rockies. We'll try to see it across at least the northern and maybe the central plains during this period, and then potentially some snowfall if we can get some cold air aloft with these storm tracks on the northwest side across portions of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, and northern Pennsylvania, and then down the Appalachians as we go during that Monday, February 5th and Monday, February 12th timeframe. So a lot to go and a lot to digest in this forecast. I know that was a lot to get through. I appreciate you sticking with me through this video. Make sure to subscribe down below for detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics. Again, as tropical weather season comes closer, we will talk about that. Also, make sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.